Hey, let's do another one of these internet searches and have a little fun because I've been really watching a lot of documentaries and interviews on ancient history, and not that channel, but like interviews with Jason, Reza, Giordani, and stuff about the Amazons and the old, like ancient Iranian culture and the Aryans and how everything from ancient Egypt and Atlantis became those cultures. And something came up in them regarding the word pharmakia, basically pharmaceuticals. And I went into meditation just to figure out what was going on at the time when I started my hormone treatments and what was going on prior to that. And throughout all of it, sorry, I just had to peel this little thing off. Apparently my keyboard is falling apart. Most of my issues throughout my life, my health issues, began as early as I can remember. And they were always perpetuated through the use of medication. I mean, you would think after 30 years of being on, 38 years actually, of being on different forms of medications that I would be helped by now. Like my, organs would be okay, my teeth would be okay, my hormone levels would be stabilized. But it's not the case. I felt more stable without them. And during my relationship with my twin soulmate, whatever label you want to put on it, my divine counterpart, when things got really messed up, like really, like after June 6, 2016, they were messed up prior to that, but not in the way that they got messed up after that date. And then a year after that date was when I began hormone treatments. And from that point on, it was as if there was this illusion between us. Like a sense of unfamiliarity, as if I don't know if you're familiar with Doctor Who, but I felt like I was inside of a Dalek, and he could only see the Dalek, and I was inside of it trying to come out. My entire life, I have known I'm a woman. I have always had memories of my children and my husband in other lifetimes, and that's why I was so, and still am, so completely in love with the person, my divine counterpart. He is this reality's version of the man I'm with in the other place. So when I began these treatments to have my physical body here change into what I believe it to be, what I know it to be, I apparently have been using transformative powers such as blah 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 with the actual meaning of the word. The practice of making medication and vitamins. It also refers to making spell-giving potions or alchemical potions or elixirs believed to have transformative powers. So I've basically been putting a spell on myself. And now you know where I stand with the biblical God, okay? I have nothing against him, I have nothing to follow him for. But the things written in the books, they're written there for a reason. They're written there by men, they're written there by kings, they're written there by monks, but they have a grain of truth in them somewhere. And it's different to each person that reads it. It's like a matrix code, basically. And when I've been reading these things about pharmakia and how I feel every time I it's my time to take hormones, I don't feel like myself. I feel like another version of myself. I was on spironolactone, which is a supposed testosterone blocker, but it also lowers your heart pressure, it increases your potassium levels, it flushes out all the hydration and moisture in all of your cells, it ages your skin, it does a lot of really messed up things. And in addition to those things, the estrogen I was on was the injectable oil form, which has a sodium benzoate preservative. When sodium benzoate mixes with any form of ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C, or potassium sorbate, it becomes a benzene, a gasoline-like substance in your body, which becomes cancerous. This is legit. Like, you can look this up. Hold on. I'm gonna put the camera down and bring this up for you. So I spoke to my doctor, and I got off of spironolactone. I'm not going through all these search results right now. This is irrelevant, well, mostly irrelevant to what I'm talking about anyway. I got off of spironolactone and I felt so much better, so much healthier. I actually drink water and the water stays in my body for more than 5 minutes. And the only difference is there is slightly more, not even more, the vellus hairs, and vellus means, let me make sure I describe this to you. Vellus hair. Hair is short, fine, light-colored, barely noticeable thin hair. Those little hairs became slightly more noticeable. That was the only difference. For 2 years of being on spironolactone, my skin started developing wrinkles in certain spots. I was getting stretch marks. I was getting all sorts of not nice things happening to my skin, but my body hair wasn't really changing that much at all. I mean, I've been going to laser hair removal for 2 years along with electrolysis, and I still had facial hair. It did nothing. So I finally got off of it after months and months and months of trying multiple different dosages of it. And then I got off of estradiol, the injectable oil, and I switched to the pill version. So I take 2 pills in the morning and 2 pills at night. And I keep asking myself, like really, really asking myself, with everything I'm helping people learn and everything I know about this universe and the matrix and the law of attraction, the demiurge and everything else, why the fuck would I be taking hormones? Why? Sorry, I just got distracted reading something here. And I don't care about the witchcraft thing or sorcery thing. Sorcery is just using source energy. Witchcraft is using wisdom of the old women of the earth. There's nothing ridiculous about it. They demonized it just so that everything would go through the biblical Abrahamic religions. Now, hatred, these things, yeah, those are not nice. You don't want to envy. You don't want to do all this terrible shit. But I'm really considering not being on estrogen anymore. I don't need something to tell me what my body is supposed to be doing. It's my body. It responds to my input. Which brings me back to my relationship with my divine counterpart. Every time I injected myself with estrogen, and we were together for about 6 months while I was on estrogen, and then after that is when we separated, or I think we separated. I mean, everything I have is still in the house, and Our fur babies are still there. My clothes are still there. All the jewelry, the gifts, I mean, everything is still there where it's been for 2 years now, except for me. So I don't know what's going on with that. But since I've been on these drugs, things changed in a way that wasn't normal. And for those of you who've been following the channel for a while, you know I've spoken about this a lot. How he just changed in front of me, how he disappeared in front of me, how he was a completely different person every other day. And I'm really starting to see now, especially after the experience I had this morning and a few months ago, which I'll be posting a video on it shortly. I just got done editing it. I'm really being made to know and to see and to comprehend, to understand, to overstand, to whatever, that this isn't the way. This is not the way. Pharmaceuticals, false hormones, putting things in your body to get your body to be something else, like artificial things, they're not for source energy people. They're for NPCs, for backdrop people. It's just like getting breast implants or vaginoplasty. It's not for source players, for source energy people. It's for the NPCs and backdrop people, not for people who have the ability to, or the energy stream to do these things innately within their own body. It's kind of like an Aeon taking something that's intended for an Archon because the Aeon forgot that it can do it on its own. So by the way, side note, if you're on estrogen treatments, be careful with vitamin C. Your body needs vitamin C, but when you're consuming sodium benzoate in anything, it's in sodas, it's in everything. So be careful, because you're going to have to be playing a yo-yo game of, if I eat this, it gives me this side effect. If I eat that, it counteracts that side effect, and then I have to do something else to counteract that side effect. It's an entire catch-22, I think they call it, so that the end result being that you go back to source, your own connection to the natural world and to source energy itself. Because there are herbs and plants and foods that increase phytoestrogen, and that have phytoestrogens that increase the estrogen level in your body safely, naturally, like yams and red clover and I think broccoli, soybeans and soy milk. And then there's stuff that increases testosterone naturally, like garlic and onions, I think. And yeah, there's ways to do things naturally. And just like breast implants, I mean, I have my appointment, my consultation in 2 days or 3 days. What day is today? 3 days from now. And I don't think I'm gonna get them, because at some point they're gonna need to come out. And I don't want to go through all that procedure again. And at the same time, I don't want to feel like part of me is fake. You know what I mean? Like, I'm already me. Do I feel inadequate as a woman because I'm part of the itty bitty titty committee? No, like I love my body. I love my chest. I don't care what size they are. I love me. And am I less of a woman because I don't have a vagina or a womb? No, absolutely not. I'm just an Amazon type of a woman, and I'm the kind of woman that gives the seed instead of receives the seed. I'm the warrior woman. I'm not the, I've been the mother. I've been the crone. I've been the maiden. Now I'm the Amazon. Now I'm the Diana, the Wonder Woman. I'm not the one that's gonna be like, you know, whatever. I'm Xena. Get over it. You can be Gabrielle. So I'm fairly certain that these spells and sorceries that are designed for NPCs and backdrop people and archons and the artificial inhabitants of this matrix construct, I'm fairly certain that their methods aren't useful for me. Because since I started on these methods, I have lost so fucking much. My life has become diminished. My supernatural abilities, which I have tons of. I mean, Jesus Christ, I had a list of things I could do energetically, and me and my partner were writing them down, and they were over 100 things. Now I can barely do like 10. My relationship with him dissipated in such a way that it was completely ludicrous. It was absurd how much we both changed. I mean, the problems we had prior to me getting on hormone replacement therapy were there already, but they were also side effects of what I was going through because of other medications, of the testosterone treatments I was on when I was a child and I was being lied to, of the massive amounts of mental altering psychotropic bullshit I was being put on in my teenage years and my early 20s. All of the alcohol and the various different drugs I was on to try to get myself out of reality. And then all of the dental issues I was having and the fillings that were all metal and mercury filled and root canals that were never finished properly. It was like I was being completely, the humanity in me was being destroyed so I could be a blank slate for some entity to fill me in. And when I had that possession experience, it literally felt like there was no humanity left in me. I was completely an NPC character being programmed and run by somebody somewhere else. I wasn't in my body anymore at all. I wasn't able to be in my body. And when I started hormone replacement therapy on May 3rd, 2017, things were slightly getting better simply because I guess I had hope. I was hanging on to such a thin strand of life that I figured that if I start that, maybe, it's my living reincarnation. And now, 2 years later, and looking back at all these pictures and looking back at my life, doing my own life review, and am I glad I did it? Absolutely not. Do I regret doing it? No. Would I do it again? No. I'm a powerful creator, and I have a deep, infinite well of love. There is no reason for me to be popping pills. My skin has always been fantastic. My body has always had the curves I've wanted it to have. My entire energy has always been feminine. It became masculine and dangerous to myself and all this sorts of shit when I was on all sorts of medications and fighting viruses and all sorts of crap. It had nothing to do with gender. Yeah, I've had dysphoria, or however you want to call it, about my body, but that's because my body was tampered with since birth. Like, I was 3 years old and I was being given packets of powdered blood things to mix into water or some shit to drink so that I could increase my blood count because I was subjected to SRA when I was very young, which is satanic ritual abuse, and my blood was gone. I had nothing in my system. My hair was white as snow. My skin was pale. I had no blood in my system at all, barely any. So when we went to Germany finally, when I was around 3, the doctors there prescribed all sorts of crap for me to be on, which apparently or supposedly were helping me increase my blood count again. But the entire time every time I would take those things, I would go into fits of rage, like a 3-year-old punching walls, kicking, hurting itself, screaming, yelling, crying, turning red and shaking and shivering from like stress responses. It wasn't blood that was being given to me. If it was, it wasn't human blood. It was fucked up. And now, the past few months that I've been living here by myself, completely isolated myself, living on less than $800 a month, having my best friend be this little monster right here, and having my entire life and my relationship with the love of my life be kept away, almost behind a screen, behind a veil, having memories be tampered with, and then sitting here and realizing day in and day out that the only thing that's remained is the fucking drug use. As if I'm in some sort of matrixy quarantine to detox myself of these things so that I can move forward in life. Because this seems to be the last thing I have been holding on to from the matrix reality. Hormones. And I responded to an email. I got like 7 emails in the last 2 days from 7 different people. Asking me for advice and input and making subliminal requests. And responding to them and reading their emails to me, I realized what I'm doing myself, to myself. The advice I was giving them, I haven't been taking in regards to myself at all. And since I've been listening to my own subliminals so much, like I have them on loop 24/7, except right now. And I'm starting to accept and be aware and realize the massive amounts of power within every human being, within all of us, in a way that I wasn't aware of before. I have always been aware of magic and the old ways and the power of herbs and intention and attraction and all of that, but not to this extent. Not to the extent of me actually having made a subliminal, used it myself, and see the result of my own ability to alter my own reality in such a specific way. And I want you to be aware of the power you hold too. Your hair color, your tits, your lack of tits, your womb or your lack of womb, your makeup or lack of makeup, it has nothing to do with your gender. Your gender has nothing to do with your gender. Your body has nothing to do with your gender. This could be a man. Who's to say? Society. Every single thing you attribute to female or male is because of society. So stop it. If you intend for yourself to be a woman, you can be a woman. You don't need to have multiple near-death experiences to have it like dug into you because of how stubborn you are. Like me. I've had I swear this. I have had at least 9 near-death experiences in the last 4 months. So you don't have to believe me, you don't have to trust me, but trust that I've been through something so fucked up that the universe itself, source and all forms of divinity, ingrained this knowing in me so that I could share it with you. You don't need this. 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 All you need is this. And this. light, water, and your intention. That is all you need. You don't need to bow a knee to this, because this bows a knee to you. You are source. You created God. God did not create you. God is an extension of source energy. When source energy made itself human or incarnate, those beings evolved prior to you being here. Those beings that evolved prior to you called themselves the Norse gods, the ancient gods, the archons and the aeons, the God. This is part of your family. This isn't your creator. You are your own creation. Trust that in yourself. You know it to be true. And if you're going to make potions and take pharmaceuticals and do witchcraft and sorcery and all of that, go for it. But do it in an empowering way. Don't do it in a way where you're attempting to change what you are because you don't like what you are. I love my body. I've had a lot of fun with my genitals. I have had a lot of fun with my chest. I have had a lot of fun in my entire life. And it all stopped being fun when I attempted to change myself from what I was, instead of improve myself from what I was. The cost of what you lose just to be who you already are makes no sense at all. And when I started transitioning, people were like online were saying, "Oh, you can expect to lose so much, expect for people to leave your life, blah blah blah." They were basically adding disclaimers to the effects of that form of black magic. When in reality, you don't have to lose any of those things. You just raise your vibration, make the intention, write the affirmations, and create your life as if it's already that. And nobody has to leave your life. Your relationships don't have to sever and sabotage. If the person you're with loves you, they're going to love you regardless of whether you have tits or not. There's some timeline reality version of the person you're with who loves you for exactly who you are. And you will manifest that when you love yourself for exactly who you are. The guy I was with loved me more than I loved myself, until I learned how to love myself too. But I made a mistake throughout the process, and I thought that loving myself meant changing myself. And when I changed myself, he changed. I was already a woman, and he loved me unconditionally. I didn't need to get on hormones to be who I am. I was already who I am. And it's taken me 2 years to realize this. Would I like to have a vagina and bigger tits? Absolutely. Would I ever consider getting surgeries to get those things? Probably. But maybe after interviewing the doctors greatly, having more than enough money to pay for the surgeries in cash, and being able to choose the doctor and the place and everything myself, not through some insurance company. It's my body, it's my power, it's my life. And I'm not going to put it in the hands of an insurance company. I know too much. I know how this reality works. Not completely, but well enough to know that if I'm going to trust anything, I'm going to trust this being, as well as myself, and the source energy that made this being and myself. Because as long as I look at this being as superior to me, it will act like it's superior to me. When I act like it is equal to me and my friend and companion and guide through life, it will act that way. Because it is a construct of the matrix. Source itself exists everywhere. This exists only in the matrix. I hope this makes sense to you. I intend that it enlightens you in some way and it helps you realize who you truly are without needing to be looking outside of yourself. And in regards to these websites, I've never been on them except for today, so I don't have any affiliation with them. I don't recommend them. I was just Googling these words, meaning of pharma in Greek. Side note, amazing song. Go listen to it. Another side note, let me pull it up. Extra That Extraordinary Being by Emily Sandé. Look it up and look up India Ari. Ready for Love. And this song should be your mantra. I Am Light by India Ari. Listen to them all the time. I love you unconditionally. Please take care of yourself and follow what you believe, not what others tell you to believe.